Good evening, everyone. My name is Serena Muniz. I am the chair of the Community Development and Budgetary Priorities Committee, and I am joined by my co-chair,
Malcolm Gray.
Mr. Malcolm Gray. This is our, I'm sorry?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon.
As well as a committee member, Mr. Dwayne Williams.
Yes.
Sorry, I just came from another meeting after another meeting. So we're very happy to be here tonight. This is the second public hearing for the year 2023. And we are here to get feedback from the community as to what it is that our community members need and or desire for District 11. And so it is,
Some members do not though, so.
and we also have community members on the community committee members on the line, as well as community board members on the line. Tun is also here with us from the Department of City Planning, so thank you. So hello to Ryan, one of our new committee members, to Ms. Christine Culpepper, and I'm sorry?
Roger.
And then Roger, as well as Cynthia Rodriguez. So hello, everyone. It is 7:09, and I believe we did not have anyone sign up. Jeremy, right? Hmm? Is Jeremy with us still?
Jeremy?
Okay, I didn't receive any emails with regards to anyone interested in speaking tonight, but nevertheless, we are here and we're excited to hear from the community. So I will start by reading the conduct statement, okay? This is something that we're gonna do moving forward, not just, well, this isn't a committee meeting, but just moving forward at committee meetings as well. So the Community Board 11 meetings must be held in a professional and hostile-free environment. Okay, I see a hand. I'll get to you, Ms. Delgado, or the following rules of conduct are applicable to members of the public, Community Board 11 and Community Board 11 staff. Any actions or behaviors that interrupt or interferes with Community Board 11 business will not be tolerated during any Community Board 11 meeting and may result in the individual or individuals being asked to leave. If the action or behaviors continue, this may be considered disturbing the peace and the appropriate authorities may be summoned. If the meeting is held remotely, the person may be muted or expelled for the remainder. Repeated violations by the same person or group of people may result in further action by the community board. All public speakers must address the full board or the committee with their concerns. Electioneering for a position other than an officer of Community Board 11 is prohibited, and engaging in acts of violence, including threats, are grounds for immediate suspension of the right to attend meetings pending review by ethics and disciplinary committees. Respect the equality, diversity, and privacy of all persons by respecting and valuing differences of cultures and culture and opinion. Refrain from unpleasant and disparaging remarks and other actions. Abstain from all forms of harassment by actively discouraging it. Disseminating false information is prohibited. Thank you very much, and yes. And then we can start. Everyone has 3 minutes, and we can start now. Ms. I see Delgado. I don't know. Is that Mr. Mrs. Delgado?
Ms. Delgado?
Hello? Am I ready to speak?
Yes, you have 3
Okay.
minutes.
Hi. I did send an email about 25 minutes ago because I was quite disappointed because the government is of the people, by the people, for the people. And again, this year, there was no public notification of this meeting. The city charter requires adequate notice. The only notice was provided, was an agenda posted on the CB11 website. And there was no posting of this meeting on any of CB11's official social media pages. The calendar was posted on September 4th for September 2023 meetings. However, it's just a little notation, public hearing, budget hearing, but it doesn't really explain to the community that this is the opportunity for them to express their needs, their priority, and what is their opinion on how we should spend our money in our local area. So again, we have a low turnout of public members of the community. I'm usually the only person that attends your meeting, so this is quite disappointing, and I hope this is addressed, because this is a violation of city charter. Now, regarding what my opinion, and maybe you could put an email in the chat, because I know I'm going to run out of time. One concern has always been, and I expressed that last year, but for some reason was not included in the CB11 needs and priority. It was the expense side. We need parks enforcement. It's very important, especially now that Mayor Eric Adams, due to the budget shortfalls, we're not getting any federal stimulus money. He's cutting across all agencies, but parks, as you may know, is really underfunded, and we don't have any parks enforcement. It's quite needed to protect our parkland. But parks enforcement is a priority for, and I speak on behalf of Friends of Palmer Parkway, a grassroots volunteer group. We have volunteers, about 20 to 25 on a regular basis, in our cleanups. This is more than most cleanups have, organized by paid groups. So we actually do a good events. And I also like to ask for, sidewalk repairs on Astor between Wallace and Matthews, right on this, adjacent to NYCHA. The sidewalk is poor repair, and when people who are on wheelchair, who use walkers, canes, they have difficulties walking on that sidewalk. I have made a 301 complaint to DOT. DOT said they're going to look into it, but it's a priority because it is in violation of federal ADA laws. And there's other issues I like to, if I'm not sure, at least give me a 30-second warning. I would appreciate that, so I could wrap it up. And lastly, I think capital side, I said again, and the lack of notes, I just saw this meeting this morning when I checked your agenda, so I was not prepared. But last year, a person, and I contacted 2 persons, and they were just like, forget it, Community Board 11 never contacts us, I'm not interested in attending the meetings. I said, okay. But I would like to emphasize again, the dog run, the Bronx Park East dog run. We have most dog runs are newly built, have a water source. We had an incident this summer where a dog had a heat stroke, and yes, it was the human person's fault for keeping his dog out for so long. Common sense, but unfortunately, it's not everyone has that. But the dog went into heat stroke, and thankfully, a lot of the other people helped relieve the dog. But we didn't have any water source for that dog, so it really is essential. Also, there has been an issue of some dogs are not vaccinated, so there's been a spread of disease in that dog run because it's not clean. It's not clean. There's no water source. So again, I'm going to ask you to put that in the capital request, please. And if you could put an email in your chat so I could go into more details. And my last request, please, because I was reading the city charter, I didn't see on your agenda, but each agency is supposed to contact the community boards to express their needs and priorities, like DOT, parks, and tell CB11, this is our needs. And then maybe they coincide with the community needs, and I don't see that in your agenda. So if you have that information, I would love to see it, please.
Thank you.
I'll put the email in the chat so that you have it and you can send us this information or whatever else you didn't share. And if you wanted to send all of this as well in an email, I'm happy to receive that.
Yes, but is that information regarding the agency feedback provided to CB11, was that done?
What was that, Ms. Delgado?
Sorry.
Agency feedback regarding?
Because I'm speaking fast because I always get shut down. The city charter requires each agency to provide the needs and their priority to the community board, each community board. Was that done? The DOT, the parks contact CB11 to provide you what their needs are for this fiscal year, FY24?
Let me circle back with Jeremy. I know we received several emails from several city agencies responding to certain asks that we put in regards. So let me confirm that.
Thank you. And that would have been nice if that would have been included in the agenda, so I could provide a more informed comment than just from the shooting from the hip. But lastly, I forgot, we need real affordable housing because that
So that
one second. That upzoning in Allerton was at 9. Sorry, this is very important, and I'm the only person from the public. Just give me 25 seconds. It says always shutting me down. I'm giving you valuable information. I get dismissed like I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry, but this is very
Ms.
offensive now.
Give you another
I
minute.
just want to say real affordable housing. As you know, the upzoning Allerton Avenue, it's at 90% AMI, but the affordable housing at World Trade Center is at 80% AMI, much less than here, and their income is way higher than income in the Bronx. So I would like to ask, if you're going to put affordable housing, please emphasize real affordable housing. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, opening up to anybody else?
Does anyone else on WebEx would like to share? Anyone else here present?
Yes. I'm sorry, I was a little bit late, but my request is if you could just go through the whole process and explain exactly what stage we're at now, because I'm very confused. And I've looked at what you have online, which is in a kind of a hard place to find on the community board website, because some of it's under forms and guidelines where you would think to look for it, but then the rest of it's under resources where I wouldn't have naturally thought to look for it, but that's where it is.
Okay.
But I'm confused, like what stage are we at exactly now? Is there further input that the public can give you?
Yes.
And have the agencies reviewed the requests, or can they still review the requests?
Okay, so the reason why we are here today, and I was gonna wrap it up, I was just gonna kind of just give everybody a recap towards the very end, but that answers my recap. So right now, we are here having this public hearing so that we can hear from our community, right? We can hear from our community the whole entire year. So everyone can submit any request that they have that they would like for either capital or expenses, right? In terms of the budget. So that doesn't just happen now. The reason why we're doing this now is because our submission for the fiscal year 25 is due October 31st, same as last year. So what you saw and what you're looking at maybe in the 24 is the request that we had from our last public hearing, not our last, but the one that we had in October of 22. So right now, these are brand new requests that are going in. So certain requests you'll see in January when the preliminary budget comes out. You may see certain items still from last year on the new preliminary budget because they either weren't answered, they weren't funded. Maybe we want to just keep them there because they weren't funded, or we have support but we want to request continued support. You'll see new requests. So does that answer your question?
Partly. but
Okay.
We had a request in PECA for better kind of trash cans
Mm-hmm.
for really all the parks, but specifically for a certain area of Bronx Park East.
Right.
And it was in one of the budgets
Mm-hmm.
as a proposal, but it got placed through the sanitation department,
Right.
which is understandable because it's trash cans. But the Parks Department has jurisdiction over all the trash cans that are in the parks or alongside the parks. So it should have really been the parks.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the park was wrong. So I emailed you a correction. So there's still time to put
Yes.
that in?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. So the reason why we're here right now, so just to answer Ms. Finch, we have spoken to the Department of City Planning in regards to a lot of these requests and asks that we submitted. And for some reason, there has been glitches that have happened that have changed certain agencies that and this is something I spoke to Jeremy about as well, and this is something that has happened in previous years. So we're very mindful of that, and we're really careful to make sure that we, address and attach the agency that it should be addressed to. But this was the response that I got, because I noticed that there were things that were maybe that should have been addressed to traffic, or housing, and there were things that should not have been that way. So we're aware of that, and this is what we were informed. That being said, your ask is now being submitted with the proper with all the information exactly how you asked for it. You will see it, because that way there won't be any confusion. And that's one of the reasons why, and I'll share, and I have shared with Jeremy, and I asked Jeremy to share widely, but I created a form that addresses your needs and asks, whether it's capital and or expense. So all you have to do is kind of just write on the form itself and email it back to us. And then that way we can just extract exactly what the asks are. Last year when we had our public hearing, it was like very much like this, and then going back and transcribing all of the requests. So I think if we could have the requests in writing, that would also that would also help. So if you could utilize that form, that would be great, but you don't have to, because that's one of the reasons why we're here. So I think that's it, I think. Does anyone else have a request? Let's see, what is the deadline to submit requests? Our deadline for budget submission is October 31st. If we could get and not ours, cities. So if we could get it in, is the earlier the better, because we get up to 40 capital requests and 25 expense requests that we can submit. And so we just have to make sure that we have it all in time, making sure that all the agencies are, accurate, the language is accurate. I would suggest that we be as detailed as possible. If there's data information that you have that you can share, that would be fantastic. The more information we can provide the city, the better positioned we will be to perhaps receive the funding. So you can send the agencies ask, so I can send a comprehensive.
Yeah, right.
Yes, you can send a comprehensive written ask, Ms. Delgado. Yes, absolutely.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I said, can you send me all the asks from the agencies that you probably already had in advance, because they do it sometime early year before this public hearing, so I can look into it and provide a more comprehensive written proposal that doesn't conflict or perhaps doesn't agree with what's already been asked. That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I ask more questions?
Sure.
So
Well,
I would-
I wouldn't say, would it be questions or
yeah,
more?
question.
Oh, okay.
There was another community board, and I was watching one of their meetings, and it looked as though they had each committee submit requests.
Yes, and that's what we're doing. So right now, Jeremy received an email August 11th to send to the full board to request that each committee submit their requests. And so I circled back with Jeremy today, and I requested that he resend that email just to ensure that all of our committees have their requests in. And then once we have all the requests, then we'll present it to the full board, and then we'll move forward with submitting the budget.
And do you think the agency ask list you could make available to everybody?
I will, I don't see why not. I have to, let me just, I don't want to speak out of turn. I think so. It should be public, information.
It really just depends on how many actions it is, and it won't be us sending it out, but it's technically the staff, so.
Right, so back to having to speak to Jeremy about it.
Any other questions?
So for the form that's online of the
But the site survey.
district needs, where you're supposed to put your most important issue,
Mhm.
we can encourage like all the BPECA members to just go fill that out online?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but it's not gonna get to, they would have to fill it out online, and then send it to, is this the one on CB11 site?
Yeah.
Okay, and then send it to us, because that doesn't directly go to the Department of City Planning. It's a form that was made available just so that people can have a way of to make it easier, but it's not that streamlined just yet where it goes directly, to them. We
But they
have to
put that online, but then they'd have to like save it and attach it to an email.
and send it, yeah. So we still have time. It's September 13th. We still have time. The community development meeting committee will be meeting again in October, but we still have time. Everyone has time to submit their asks. If we could try to get it in 2 weeks before the deadline, that would be great, so that we can ensure that, and I'm just looking on my phone for like a date. Again, you can submit all the way up until, October 31st, 11:59, but just so that we can make sure that all the asks are in, I would say it would be, October 23rd would be a week before the deadline submission, would probably most likely be fair.
Can I ask another question? So is Community Board 11 limited to just 40 capital requests and 25 expense requests? And this other community board that I was watching, they were listing their requests in priority order
Mhm.
as well.
Right.
We have to do that too?
Yes. So so if you review the district needs report for Community Board 11, there are it's like housing is number 1. Safety is number 2, and number 3 was parks. Right? So that is what our community has indicated are their top priorities. And so housing, safety, and then the parks. And so based on that, you'll start to see the needs, the priorities of the budget that we submit.
Sure. I was like, it's here somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm earlier. Oh, there we go. All right.
That's not it.
My fault.
If you go to the link we shared today,
Chart.
yeah, then there in like the second page let's see, that one.
All right, so I'm gonna share it on the thing. 1 second.
So it should be, so you got the city, they'll break it down and they'll show you overall the census and what the numbers are looking like from 2010 to 2020, how the city has kind of grew in population, demographics, and then we go to the Bronx, and then we can go down to, and this is why at all of the committee meetings and full board meetings, I've encouraged not only our community board members, but also this was prior, right? So they break this down and they say that prior to COVID, this is what our priorities were last year. This is what we asked for. Now we some of us know, because some of us that were here last year kind of know exactly how it all transpired. So we took everyone's request and pretty much you know, submitted it as it was, because we only had like a not as it was, as the asks were presented. And we added schools because schools were not listed as the top 3 priorities. But if you go up, Malcolm, no, for like a little, like, yeah, it should be before that. Oh, up more, one more. So in here, right, let's see, I just had it. So it talks about, you know, the percentage and how our demographics changed and grew. No, further, one more up. And right here, I think it's here. No, that little paragraph, that paragraph, yeah, that's what I was reading. Goodness. I can share with everyone, because I left my paperwork back at the office, but it breaks down exactly what yeah, it's not there. I can't see it now, and it's hard to kind of tell here.
Is it summary of prioritizing?
No, it was early on. It was early on, but so based on community 11, the district 11 needs, I read that that the need for us right now, top 3 priorities was housing, crime, and the most pressing issues for this community board. So that was last year. That's what we submitted last year, because that's, you know, what was presented to us. A lot of our parks and open spaces, and we only had 2 top 3 priorities, and we added schools because based off of the requests that we had received from community members, schools was a big, you know, component, and so we added schools. So and prior to last year, we only had 2 top priorities. But this is not what the results, this is not what ultimately we received back from the city. Like, they're saying that our district is really concerned about the housing and is concerned about, you know, the crime, and also, of course, our parks, because we have a lot of, you know, a large park open space. So I know it's here somewhere, and I can't stand that I didn't bring my paperwork with me. It's not all the way down there.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm positive.
This is the back.
So yes.
Want this for housing?
No, it's there, it's in that paragraph. Yeah, I'll find the paragraph, and I'll just share with Jeremy so he can share with everyone. Or when we meet in October, I can just refer. Okay, it's gotta be here. Maintaining police. Okay, so they talk about when the top 3 issues were in 22, the top 3 issues were maintaining police, community relations, overcrowding of emergency rooms, and quality of life. While those issues are important, they quite possibly failed to acknowledge the board's current situation. A longstanding initiative in the Bronx has been the proposed Metro North, which, you know, proposes to increase jobs and bring housing. And in here, they talk about and the calendar year drastically down. Okay, so in this paragraph here, it just goes to show what you were saying, Ms. Finch, right? When we prioritize certain things, it talks about how in last year we drastically reduced, not last year, the year prior, we reduced our asks. I don't know why we did, but we reduced them. And so by doing so, it says here that you know, that's not necessarily like we should ask for as much as we can ask for, right? And the 45 and the 25, the 40 and the 25, that's not a CB11, just it's a overall community board thing, right? For capital and expenses. And so when you go down and you look, it tells us, right, we had the Eastchester Playground as number 8 in the year prior. When we moved the reconstruction of the playground up to number 2, that's, I believe, what they're saying from my understanding is that I believe they saw it as a priority for us and they took it as such, and so therefore it was funded, right? But we have so many priorities that we have to, determine what they are really, 1, 2, and 3. That doesn't mean that we don't ask for anything else, but we have to make sure that our top 3 priorities, as agreed by the board, is what's going to be presented. I am going to find that I'm going to find that that 1, 2, and 3 where it says our current
Generally, what we'll do, we'll take all the asks and then we'll look at it and analyze it and figure out exactly what are the top 3 needs that the community is asking for and prioritize it in that way.
Can you go to number 2 just to yeah, that one of the
Can I jump in here for a second, Serena?
Sure.
Is that in
Sure.
one of the PDF files that you sent on the sent in an email? If you want to go back to that, I'm not sure.
It's this exactly. It's this. I just, it's hard for me. I was just, I've been reviewing this. This is like I review this all the time. I just can't find what I'm trying to kind of draw everybody's attention to. So there were things that we had asked for, in previous years that weren't necessarily like that ultimately the Department of City Planning said that based off of our community's input, these would be the things that they deem would be the top 3 priorities. But I can't see it here because yeah, it's kind of hard, and I'm also here on camera, and I'm just trying to make this happen. And
It's fine. We'll email it out.
Can I share something real quick and see if this is what you're talking about?
sure.
Give me a second. Let me see. Jesus, I don't know if I can. I don't know. I can't share my screen now. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Christine.
Okay. I'm not able to share my screen but
mean-
Malcolm, I mean,
No, share it.
huh?
I passed it to you. You can share it.
Okay. Let's see. No, it's not allowing me to.
Video on.
Something video. Just gotta share the screen.
While she does that, are you able to speak to whether or not you
Speak
got?
loud so people can.
Yeah, while she's searching for the file she wants to share, I was just curious, how close are we to that capacity in terms of that 40 or 25 number? Do we have enough tolerance for us to add to that? Or have you filtered it and gotten it down to an acceptable number at this point?
We didn't even have our complete 40 last year. We didn't, and we didn't have our complete 25. And so and again, they, as you can see, we for some reason scaled back. I was informed that we scaled back our asks, and I think there was a method behind it, according to what I was informed by Jeremy, is that the more we ask for, we probably are not gonna, the reality is that we're probably not gonna get funded for it, right? So if we ask for just the right amount, the city will probably notice us and see us and then therefore give us what we're asking for. But last year, we asked for everything that everyone at the public hearing came to ask for, and everyone in our committees asked for. So we added just all of it.
Yeah.
And so this has been a process. I mean, this has been we're a new it's not a new committee, but we're pretty much a year now. Happy anniversary. And we've learned fast and furious, and we're just we're gonna do right by, and we've been doing right by the committee and by the community. And so we definitely will be asking for all the 40 and all the 25 and making sure that we are, in line with our asks, and what our priorities are and, with the board feedback, because of course we need board feedback and community feedback. We all collectively determine what our priorities are. It's not that this committee just says, this is priority and because so this is why you're going to hear a lot. You're going to hear me say a lot. The budget, came out. Please review the budget. Please submit your asks. Please, or probably the whole entire year, because then we get to the, crunch time. And we want to make sure that everyone's asked. The New York Public Library submitted their asks a couple of months ago. BPEPA submitted, their request. And I've been, we had the survey that we created that not that we created, the Department of City Planning has a survey, had it in English. We took the initiative and we translated it into Spanish and Albanian. That wasn't available at all. And now I'm happy to report that DCP now has it available in 15 different languages, based off of, I guess, our initiative. They're also trying on their end to make it much more available to the community, make these resources available to the community. We've been on multiple telephone calls. They've come to present to the committee the whole process several times. So, it's something that we're seeking to just grow and to learn and to do right. So
We'll rework the outreach, I guess. I wasn't aware that some people didn't know. So I will work with Jeremy and the staff to get a email blast to our local CBOs. So they could be aware of this, so they can submit stuff, and we'll make another post on Facebook.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was mentioned back in June at our full board meeting that we were gonna have the public hearing in September, but we definitely could have done much better at ensuring that the community knew that we were having this public hearing. But that is also one of the reasons why we did not wait until the end of October, because you still have time to submit. You still have time, and I'll find that information for everybody. You found it?
It just got sent to me. So,
Oh my God, praise God.
shoot. It's the community district needs and budget request process overview. This is what you're looking for, right? Someone,
No,
where's back?
back. Let's see, district needs 24. Yeah,
May I make a suggestion while you're,
sure.
maybe you could ask the community organizations, and this might be for next year, there isn't much time left this year, to have one of their meetings be about the community budget requests. We were thinking of doing that with BPECA for our September meeting, but then we didn't get a September meeting because of space.
You actually make a good point there.
And you could also ask them to post the agenda for the meeting or something in their Facebook groups. So people know, it's a very good way of getting to a lot of people.
Right.
Just make the community groups post in their Facebook. Like Friends of Pelham Parkway could have done that. We did it, BPECA, maybe not far enough in advance, and some of them have email lists as well. You could request that they send out.
I think that's a very
Notice?
strong point. The time in which the board is off for the 2 months, I think that can be utilized to do a community district needs budget request series with everyone
During the summer.
during summer. Maybe every 2 weeks, we partner out with their CBOs like BPECA, Morris Park, Van Ness, Friends of Pelham Parkway, Pelham Parkway Neighbors Hill Associations, and have these type of meetings with them. so that by the time we come back to September, we're ready to hit the ball.
And the NYCHA's?
Yes, and then I just can't forget that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. I think we have lots to ramp for next year for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, anybody have any other questions, concerns? I know we have the PowerPoints from last year, right? Could we share those also?
The PowerPoints from DCP?
Yeah.
Yes, we have them. We can share them. I think they're actually, check to see if CB11, if we put it on our forms.
May I ask one more question? So the city agency that's in charge of all of this is the Department of City Planning?
Well, the Department of City Planning, is involved, but ultimately is the Office of, the mayor's budget that's gonna, approve or not, our ask.
So theoretically, the mayor does take into account all of these reports.
Right. And then what happens is then we have an opportunity after the preliminary budget, which we did, to reach out to all of the agencies, housing, parks, and we met with parks over the summer. We discovered that parks, they have, and this is why I encourage, right? Look at the budget. Because if you look at the budget, then you'll be able to see where the city overall and by, community board districts where, funding was either increased or decreased. And most of it has decreased. Our population has grown probably since 2010 from 2010 to the 2022 census. It was about, I want to say 65,000 in terms of like this district, I want to say. But if we look at the budget, we really can then determine, right? Because people wonder why, if we do these asks, like say it's a water source for a dog park, right? And then the parks is saying we don't have funding to even fund additional staff, right? So we have to just, if we look at the budget, then we understand that it's not that we're not wanting to, we ask and we put it and we reach out to the city and we're like, and when the budget did come out, I reviewed it and then I did reach out to all the agencies saying, okay, I noticed that this was a no. And sometimes they'll say, we need more data, we need more information. And so if that's why we really do need to be, have to give as much information as possible when we submit the budget so that we have more chances of probably getting funded. But the reality is that it seems like there've been a lot of cuts overall, not just in our district, but this, the city overall.
Awesome. Any other questions, concerns? So if anybody has any requests, you could email it to Serena at cb11serenamuniz@gmail.com or just email the community board. But if not,
Yeah, I mean, we have until October 31st. Please share, spread the word. We're also going to, do a big social media push to encourage the community to share their asks. And my email is there, cb11serenamuniz@gmail. I am available. You can email me. And thank you for coming tonight, everyone.
thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Stop the recording then?
No,
Yes.
thank you very, very much. It was a great meeting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Angel.
All right. Good night, everyone.